coming in live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Friday morning. Yes, a feel-good Friday. And Thursday, there was a lot of killing going on. Boomer, the Mets killed the Braves. The Flyers killed the Rangers. The Knicks killed the Celtics. The Islanders, they end up killing in overtime. The Canadians, Hideki Matsuyama, killed my chances of winning any Masters pool with a +4. And cancer killed OJ, and we know that OJ killed 2 people. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, okay. Well put there. Good morning, G. Yeah, I'm not very happy with the Rangers' performance last night, man.
Be happy with the Knicks.
Well, I am happy with the Knicks, but the Knicks were playing against a team that really didn't play anybody, but they did what they were supposed to do, and they still have a chance at the number 2 seed, albeit I think it's going to be a long shot. They got to win the rest of their games, and Milwaukee's got to lose their games.
And I don't know if I want them to have the 2 seed, because then that means that they have a chance to play either the Miami Heat or the Philadelphia 76ers, 2 teams that probably should not be in the play-in series. I'd much rather have that 3-6 Indiana Pacers first-round matchup and hopefully make quick work of them and then be able to move on to one of the tougher teams in the second round. That would be a really annoying ending to me if they ended up with one of those 2 teams in the first round. Not that I'm scared of anybody, but I'd much rather have the Pacers than either the 76ers or the Heat.
You know, I've been talking to you about the Rangers. They've had a great season. It's been very, very enjoyable. They had a horrendous first period against the Islanders, and then they had a horrendous 3 periods last night against the Flyers, and they were flat, and it was a dud. And tomorrow's game against the Islanders is huge. There is a very good chance that we could get a 2-3 Rangers-Islanders matchup in the first round of the playoffs if the Rangers lose this game tomorrow. Carolina's on a 3-game winning streak. They have 3 games on the road. They have played very, very good hockey the last 3 games, typical Hurricane hockey. If they win all 3 of their games and the Rangers lose one of their last 2 games, that means the Rangers will drop to number 2 in the Metro, which would be it's amazing. That would be considered to me it's considered a collapse, but
collapse.
Can't
be a collapse.
And I'll tell you why it's
collapse is when you miss the playoffs. You know like the Mets did.
And Henrik Lundqvist said this last week or 2 weeks ago. I forget what it was. It was one of the national games, and he was talking about going into the playoffs, and he was saying, you just want to be playing your best hockey going into the playoffs. And right now, the Rangers are not playing their best hockey. They are having a hell of a time scoring goals 5-on-5. Their bottom 6 is a little bit of a mishmash, and they're not really sure what to do with those guys all of a sudden. And this is what happens in these seasons. And you would hate for the Rangers to go all the way through the season and played as well as they have played, now to going into the playoffs, on a downward spiral. And unless they get their collective heads out of their
asses,
yes, and their captain starts leading them as opposed to turning the puck over, and his partner Keandre Miller starts playing the way that we all know that he can play, and the defense starts tightening up, and the other guys start scoring goals 5-on-5, and as opposed to whining about getting more penalty power play time. We could have a Rangers-Islanders first series playoff, and that would be unbelievable. That would be amazing. I'm not against it. I would have loved to see a 1-8 matchup as opposed to a 2-3 matchup, but at the end of the day, tomorrow's game at Madison Square Garden is not about retribution. It's not about that. It's about winning the game and getting the 2 points, and then beating Ottawa in the last game and getting another 2 points, because I'm assuming that, and I'm just saying I got to take care of my own business. I control my own destiny. I also know that the Hurricanes have been playing very, very well, and if they end up winning their last 3 and the Rangers lose one of their last 2, there's a very good chance we're going to have Islanders-Rangers first round.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Rangers will hang on. I think the Islanders are going to have that tough matchup. Well, either way, it's going to be tough. Let's face it, 2 of the better teams in the regular season this year, but they're going to have that matchup with the Hurricanes 2-3. I think that you will still win the division, number 1 in the Metro. I still think that will happen. and I'm not just pandering to you. I don't see how this team that's been so good all of a sudden is just not going to win a game the rest of the way, and the Hurricanes will. It just won't. It's not going to pan out that way. It's not.
I know how I know how we all felt after the Tuesday night game out there at UBS. And like I'm saying, right now, it is not about any sort of revenge or retribution on what we believe is a bad hit or cheap
tell
shot.
Your coach that.
Well, but here's the deal. It's about winning the game, winning the 2 points, getting the number 1 seed, and hopefully having home field advantage for at least the first 3 series of the playoffs, assuming that you can make it through 3 series of the playoffs. So this team, it's unfortunate that they have played the way they have played, and this thing last night against the Flyers was a disgrace because the Flyers came in on like an 8-game losing streak or a 6-0-2 or 0-6-2 losing streak, and to let the Flyers beat them 4-1 in Madison Square Garden like that was a disgrace.
May I remind you?
Disgrace.
May I remind you? We're kicking off a Feel Good Friday today, and we've got lots of reasons to feel good.
Listen,
and
let me tell you something. I am pissed off.
The negative here.
You lost the 2-year rivals, and this is why the NHL does this. You want your rivals playing late in the season for situations just like this. And what I saw last night was a hockey team that when it's playing its best, it's as good as anybody in the league. But when it's a hockey team that's disjointed all over the place, can't get any sort of offensive, pressure going, especially in a third period when you're down 3-1 and you give up, an easy 4th goal. I mean, it's pathetic. So that's the team that I saw last year that lost to the Devils in the playoffs. I do not want to see that team.
Yeah, of course not. That would be and not the team that started off that series against the Devils, the team that ended up losing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They flipped on a switch last year. So, but hey, you are still in the driver's seat. You can control your own destiny, as they say. So you put on your Rangers 3/4 zip this morning. Have faith.
I do have faith.
All the time you tell me with my teams, have faith, don't give up, don't get so upset.
I'm not giving up.
This was an annoying one, but I mean,
especially with the Flyers, the Flyers gave up 9 goals in their previous game to the Canadians.
Well,
I'm like, what the F are you doing? Get your heads out of your asses and start playing.
Well,
so that's how I feel about it. So I don't want to ruin a Feel Good Friday. It is a Feel Good Friday. I am all over the Feel Good Friday. Maybe I'm just a little annoyed, and I'll get through it the first half hour here. Let me get it off my chest. I got it off my chest. And, I thought yesterday was going to be like one of the great days in New York sports because of what the Mets did to the Braves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bitch slap in your own building.
That was great. I mean, it never happens. So regardless of the circumstances, when it does happen, it's just amazing and you have to savor it. So I'm not going to use any of that, hey, it's early in the season or there's still 2 games under 500. There's no cold water that can be thrown on a Braves beatdown in that building or in, their home building. Obviously, it's been years and years and years since they've gone now to Truist after Turner Field. It's just been a nightmare for the New York Mets. So to see this and have a rocking chair victory.
And it's two
in Atlanta.
Back-to-back series wins after they left the negativity of New York.
Very, very true.
I was telling you, they needed to get away from here, and they got away from here, and they played some good baseball, and they won 4 out of 6 games. That they needed that. They needed that in the worst way.
Yes. So that was a great one. And I don't minimize, I feel like you were poo-pooing the Knicks last night. I mean, it's not like the Celtics sat all their guys. I mean, they started their guys. They played. They got minutes. They just pulled them out essentially in the third quarter because the Knicks were blowing them out.
But I think everybody up there in Boston is like, we just don't want to get hurt. Got the number 1 seed. We got it all locked up. We're 15 games ahead of everybody. So, and the Knicks are still fighting for the number 2 seed. So, and Jalen Brunson almost had another 40-point game.
Yeah, 39, of course, last night. I don't know. If you're the Celtics, you had the season that you've had, and the Knicks are coming in and still fighting and still trying to find their way now that they know which team and which players are going to be healthy going into the postseason. I mean, don't you want to try in that game?
This was like the game last night.
Try?
The Celtics were the Rangers last night. They get embarrassed on their home ice or home court.
A little different because the Celtics not fighting for seeding right now, where the Rangers still are.
You have the freaking Flyers. I mean, come on.
And the Flyers had come in, losing, 8 straight?
Yes.
So the Knicks were not. So it's a little bit different. But
both teams got embarrassed in their own building.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not different.
I've read the quote. I don't know if Jerry has the quote, but I think Joe Mazzulla said something along the lines of the Knicks were a desperate
team
last night, and
They're
weren't.
Desperate.
But I'm like, desperate? I don't know. I got to hear the context of it. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but desperate? I mean, they're not desperate to get the 2 seed or the 3 seed or to stay out of the play, and they're fine wherever they're going to be. I still would prefer to avoid the 76ers or the Miami Heat in the first round, if possible.
I'm not for both the Rangers and the Knicks. I don't give a damn who we play. I really don't. I am not. I don't want to hear this. I hear this all the time from Ranger fans. Oh, I don't want to play Tampa. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to do that.
CeeLo.
Hey, you know what? You want to win. You're going to have to get through some. They're all tough, and it's the same thing in the NBA. They're all going to be tough. And because we know these teams so well, because we know the Heat, because, we know, who the Islanders are, we know who the Hurricanes are, it's going to be a pain in the ass no matter what. And most likely it's going to be 6-7 game series.
Yeah, I just, all right, from the Knicks standpoint, because in hockey it always seems to turn out like it's going to be a grind, and we've seen 8 seeds knock off 1 seeds. It happens a lot more because just the nature of the Stanley Cup playoffs is just, it's I don't want to say it's a crapshoot, but it's such a grind. It's so intense. It's so physical that anything can happen. From a Knicks standpoint, if they're going to make this deep run, especially with all the exhausting minutes that these guys have had to have, I just don't want to start with the Miami Heat. That's going to be a grind every night. So to me, the best chance that they have for sustainability in the postseason to get as far as they can is to maybe, and no disrespect to the Pacers, but I'm sorry, you're not beating the Knicks in the first round. I just would rather have that series as opposed to Jimmy Buckets and Jimmy Playoffs and Playoff Jimmy coming up out of the coffin like The Undertaker and then having to deal with that in the first round. I just don't want that. Now, am I saying that I think the Knicks would lose that series? No. Am I afraid of those teams? No. I'm just trying to think practically of the best route for them to get to the NBA Finals includes a first round against an opponent that doesn't grind like the Heat does.
At the end of the day, you want them to stay in the 3 seed.
I would prefer that. But if they end up the 2 seed, then they end up the 2 seed.
I doubt they're going to end up the 2 seed because, the Bucks, they'll win their 2 games, I think.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, and they're
unless the Bucks don't want to play possibly the Heat.
You think they're going to throw the last couple of games? Doc Rivers says let's throw these games so we get the Pacers instead of
maintenance days,
Miami or Joel Embiid.
Maintenance days,
maybe. I mean, I the way that they've been playing though down the stretch, and obviously Giannis is not going to play in these games until the postseason. But they need to just start playing good basketball.
Well, they've won their last 2, and they play great without Giannis.
Right. So they need to keep that momentum going into the playoffs. I can't imagine that Doc Rivers is going to be like, let's just let's sit Lillard. Let's kind of just chill out and see what happens these last 2 games because the 3 seed's better than I really don't think. I think we as fans think about that stuff. I don't think that the players are at all when they go into this game. Like I don't think that Tibbs and Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo and all these guys were like, maybe we shouldn't beat the Celtics tonight because we'd rather have the Pacers. That's not going through their mind. Especially the way they've played this year.
Right.
They're probably like, hell, I want Miami if that's the way that pans out. Those sons of bitches knocked us out last year. Give them to us right now. Let's take them out right in the first round. They're probably thinking that. I'm just thinking from a fan standpoint that that Heat series, if it were to happen, would just be exhausting. The Heat are just so exhausting.
But that's the beauty of the playoffs.
I know.
That's why you want your team in the playoffs so you can go through these ups and downs and these feelings. And I am right now, like so disgusted at the way that the Rangers played last night. I'm like, they better come out tomorrow and they better win this game tomorrow. And they better win against Ottawa. I mean, they have got to finish strong, and Laviolette's got to get their heads out of their asses, especially when it's 5-on-5. Can't always rely on the power play. Power play is unbelievable. It may be the greatest power play I've ever seen in Ranger history. But you can't just live on that alone. You have got to score 5-on-5, and there's got to be scoring that comes through the entire lineup. It can't just be 6 guys. Everybody's got to participate, and you can't just be skating around like it's ice capades. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to dig in, man. This is the time to dig in.
This is where all of them now. This
is where they didn't dig in last year, man. I'm telling you, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I certainly didn't like this performance last night, especially coming off of that, loss to the Islanders and that horrendous first period out at UBS. I'm like, what is this? Is this team going to finish the season on a high note, or is it going to, limp into the playoffs?
So I saw last night the Islanders hosted Evan Roberts and Sean Morash, much like they have done with us and me and Sal and others. So those guys ended up going to the game. They gave Sean a jersey with his name on the back. He did not put it on. However, there is video of him because in one of the periods, John Ledecky brings down the people in the box to sit right on the glass. There's video of Sean Morash standing up and celebrating an Islander goal last night.
And what the F is going on with these idiots around
because
here? Honestly,
you can't help but get wrapped up in it when you go. You can't help but to get wrapped up in it.
No, I go and I don't get wrapped up in anything.
But you're you. You've played in a Super Bowl. These guys have not come close to anything like that. So when they come down to the ice and they're sitting on the boards with probably the best seat they've ever had in their lives, and they're sitting next to the very, very passionate and infectious personality owner, and then you watch a goal go in 2 inches from your face, you got to stand up and celebrate it. So I'm actually...
What is wrong with Morash now? Well, I know Sal has been completely overtaken. He acts as if he hasn't been overtaken.
Yeah.
And, now that he's moved to New Jersey, he'll be a Devils fan before, too long.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody over there will call him up and offer him free tickets.
Probably. Yeah, and he will take them.
I mean, I thought Morash was hardcore.
Well, he did tweet out, hey, thanks for the Islanders for being such a great host and everything, but you're not going to sway me. But there's video of him standing up and cheering.
And cheering, really?
Yeah, standing up and cheering.
What are we doing around here?
A team that just beat his team a couple nights ago on Tuesday and is playing them again on Saturday. He's in the building, sitting behind the glass, standing up and cheering for the Islanders. So
did he yes as well?
I don't know. I don't know if he banged the drum or yes. I have no idea.
Man, that damn drum bangs the whole freaking game. That is annoying.
Yeah, well, when you get up to 3-0 lead like you did on Tuesday, you hear that drum just a little bit louder. A little bit louder. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, 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 boom.
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan at CBS Sports Network.